Hello and welcome everybody to the GrowCast show. Today I'm in a very special venue, as you can see, something different from the usual. And I'm with a very special person. I'm with Jack Sim, the founder of World Toilet Organization. And today we are going to be diving deep into Jack and his life story. We're going to be diving deep into the World Toilet Organization and what exactly it does. So maybe Jack, tell us a little bit about the origin story of the World Toilet Organization. How did it get started?
I was a businessman between the age of 24 to 40. And at 40, I've reached financial independence. And I was searching for what's the meaning of life because you have only so much time left. At 40, we have another 40 years, which is 14,600 days. And so I do a countdown, and each day is one day less. So we don't need more money. You can only eat so much, sleep in one bed. And if you can send the children to school and do all the necessary, then what is the more important thing? So I discovered that the people don't have toilet, and also the development sector refuse to talk about toilet because it's embarrassing, and also that it doesn't raise any fund. They call it water. So water raise a lot of fund, but if you park sanitation underwater, then nobody talk about sanitation. So I created this WTO concept, World Toilet Organization, and hitch a ride on the World Trade Organization. They didn't sue me, and it became a media darling.
And this was in the year 2001, because to this year, 2026, is the 25th year of the World Toilet Organization. So, what has been, your journey like in this 25 years?
So in the beginning, I didn't know it's gonna grow so big, right? I'm just like, okay, I'm going out to tell the story about something that they neglected to talk about. And on the first day, we launched our World Toilet Summit at Singapore Expo. It was the 19th of November. It's not my birthday. It so happened that there was a building exhibition show, and I get the organizer to give me a free venue with a global press conference by helping him sell exhibition booth. So we got about 15 countries, and overnight the medias went crazy. What is the new WTO? How can there be a summit for toilet, World Toilet Summit? And so I was quite shocked that the media coverage was worldwide, in the US, in India, in Africa, in Russia, in China, in ASEAN, even Latin America and the Middle East. So I realized that this story has a lot of power, and I can be the storyteller to help humanity change. So at first I was like doing this for fun, but as it gets serious, I sold all my businesses and I do it for free last 25 years, World Toilet Organization. Yeah. And in the process, our founding day, 19th of November, became adopted unanimously by 193 countries at the UN General Assembly as the official UN World Toilet Day. So for me, I think that legacy has led to all the countries using World Toilet Day, 19 November, to announce new policy each year on sanitation. And I realized that I could also help politicians win election by promising toilet. So in India, we started working on that, and the politicians compete with each other, promising more toilet the other guy. And eventually, Prime Minister Modi built 110 million toilets and gave it to 600 million people in India. In China, their public toilet was very dirty in 2004. They were preparing for the 2008 Olympics. So they were desperate. How can we change it so that we won't be embarrassed 4 years later. So they hosted our World Toilet Summit 2004. We helped China transform Beijing tourism toilet in 4 years. 6,600 public toilet block. And after Beijing was clean, Shanghai hosted our World Toilet Forum, and then all the other Chinese cities start to bring us along. So we've been working now 22 years in China, and you can say most of their tourism toilet are very, very clean now. And if you today go to Shenzhen, the entire city toilet is cleaner than Japan. So I think the transformation has been tremendous. These are the two biggest countries, India
China.
and China. Then I was told by the Brazilian that 50% of their sewage is not treated. And when they flush the toilet, the shit go in front of their house in the drain, and it bring back the flies, and it's very smelly. And when the rain come, it goes to a river, and then the river get contaminated, and drinking water become disease transmission path. And then they go to the beach, and the tourists cannot come. So they lost a lot of money, and they don't have money to treat the wastewater. So I went to the Senate in Brasilia, and I have a Senate hearing where they voted for their privatization of their wastewater treatment plant. I convinced them, 65 votes versus 79 senator, and they passed the bill to allow privatization of their sewage treatment plant. And now 6 years later, 44 billion US dollar invested. Singapore also invested, our GIC fund, and the favelas, which is their slums, get connection. I went back to see. I'm very, very happy to see that the people are enjoying a happy, healthy neighborhood with a sanitation connection. In Nigeria, we work with the Nigerian government up to the presidential level, and I'm going back there in May to speak to the new president and all their minister and head of civil service about solving this problem together. So I think I have been an ordinary citizen in Singapore with no power. It is quite satisfying that I can go all over the world to take up one subject and influence policy that benefit the 2.5 billion people today.
I was just want to ask you because I feel personally, right, that many Singaporeans do not know about the World Toilet Organization. And then Singapore is, many Singaporeans are not aware of it, that you are having such a crazy impact on the world and, the policies and elections and stuff like that. How do you feel about the fact that, you have got such a global impact, right? But, in Singapore, not many Singaporeans know about it.
I think in, let's say, maybe 10%, I would say that's 1 in 10, they know.
Mm-hmm.
So in general places, if I go into a crowd and I say I'm from the World Toilet Organization, then 1 in 10 will know, then they'll tell the others, and they will like, really? Is there such a thing? And it spread. But the important thing is Singapore don't have problem. The only problem we have is the dirty coffee shop toilet. In fact, I started a restroom association 1998 before I start the World Toilet Organization. And I helped the shopping center realize that you can retain customer by improving the toilet. So eventually now most shopping center are very good, or at least decent. Coffee shop cannot be solved because the coffee shop problem is that the owner doesn't want people to use the toilet. So they feel that if I keep it dirty, I will save water, save cleaning costs, save detergent, save toilet paper. So I think this, I cannot solve it. So I better go and solve problem elsewhere. And I asked the NEA and the SFA to go and find the coffee shop but they don't want to do that. I think they are afraid of this coffee shop owner because they are also donor to grassroots activity and they didn't want to offend them. So I think life is short. We want to spend our time on more impact, and if you cannot do it in Singapore, then do it outside.
But I also feel like, you know, because I visit so many different countries, especially Malaysia, right? And then I'm a avid toilet user, if I must say so myself. If you ask my wife will tell you that I spend a good amount of time in the toilet. Or if you ask any wife, they will tell you that the husband spend a decent amount of time in toilet. So one of my complaints is, even in Singapore shopping malls, right? We don't have a bidet. We only have like one bidet in every 10 cubicles.
Yeah.
Why do we not have more bidets in the Singapore toilets, especially now that, you know, water is, I understand water is a problem, but why do we not have more bidets in Singapore toilets?
I think that's another thing that needs to be addressed, because when you have this tube coming in and then you put it back, there's a lot of wetness, you know. And if it was a squat toilet, it's even more wetness. So I think the easiest thing is now to use those smart toilet. Started in Japan. Now Japanese public toilet, I think maybe about half of them are using bidet toilet. But at home, almost every household in Japan is using bidet toilet. Now China is producing this at very, very low cost. So I think that we should introduce this as property prices in Singapore rise so much, and in all cities property prices rise so much. So if you have the bidet toilet, you actually can kind of keep the water inside the bowl and don't wet the floor. I think it's a very necessary thing. Also, eventually the smart toilet is going to diagnose your health, you know, diabetes and colorectal cancer and all that. So this is coming, not yet available commercially, but the smart toilet is the direction to go.
And I mean, generally about, you know, sanitization wise, cleanliness wise, right? Like comparing using a tissue paper to a bidet, which is better?
Washing is always better. It's just a parallel explanation. If you were to wash your plate, right? Would you wipe your plate or wash your plate? Of course, you wash your plate because you wipe is not clean, right? Therefore, wiping your backside is also not clean, right? And you want to wash it. So I think wash is the best. However, it's not very convenient outside. At home, you can do it, but outside, the facility is not there. And I think that it's a cultural thing also. People think it's much more convenient. The direction is going to wash, especially if you have smart toilet, then the direction is going to wash. I think countries like India, which is a wash culture, Middle East, all the Muslim world, and then the Japanese and the Chinese is also going towards this direction. It's because the smart toilet prices are going so cheap. So it's probably will take 20 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I totally agree with you when you say the culture, because not all, surprisingly, not all countries or cultures have a wash culture. Some countries or cultures have a
Wipe.
wipe culture.
Yeah, yeah.
So but generally speaking, right now we are in 2026. We are so advanced already. So in Muslim countries, is a lot of it is like a wash culture, whereas in some other countries is wipe culture. How do you feel that this will change? And you said it will take 20 years. Why will it take 20 years? Why not 5 years?
Money. You must pay for new toilets. Of course, electronics needs maintenance. But also, wash culture can be very dangerous. I mean, if you don't cut your fingernails, if you don't wash long enough, let's say you must wash until the happy birthday song is over, and if you don't scrub enough, then the shit actually stays on your fingerprint, on your nails, and inside your nails, and then it transmits diseases. So if you don't wash your hand with soap, it's actually even more dangerous than paper. So I think the entire behavior and facilitation, I mean, a lot of places there's also no soap, you know. You go to India, Pakistan, or Bangladesh, right? People wash their hand with some water, but there's no soap. So later on, the cook will prepare the food, then you're eating their shit, you know. So I think that you have to do it holistically, not just say wash and then what, and then get diarrhea, you know. So I think you have to think of the whole package and is it available? Yeah.
Makes
So
sense.
some places you put soap and then they bring it home.
Makes sense.
So you use liquid soap, things like that.
I'm sure you've also watched this Hindi movie, Bollywood movie by Akshay Kumar
Mm,
called Toilet Ek Prem Katha.
yeah.
So that's a very popular movie in India as well. Tell me a bit about your thoughts on that movie where Akshay Kumar was
Mm.
talking about, that movie.
Akshay Kumar come to our World Toilet Summit in Touch Lands End in Mumbai. I think the story explained the background of cultural resistance of having a toilet. If you look at this Hindu text, they don't mention much about toilets. They say a toilet should be far away from the house. And I think it shows that this priest, who is the father of Akshay Kumar, doesn't want to have a toilet until his mother is unable to walk to the bush. And then suddenly they realize that, toilet is so important. And his wife, being educated, have to go to the train toilet every day just to use the train toilet. And one day the train left with the wife, and the wife got angry, don't want to come back. So I think it's a good story. It's a blockbuster. And I'm glad that Akshay Kumar also did another one for menstrual hygiene called Batman.
Yeah.
And we are happy that there are Bollywood stars that come to support. Salman Khan actually fundraise for us live on television in India in the India Today conclave. And Amitabh Bachchan donated to our World Toilet College in Dehradun and Nagpur and in the 6 places. So I think that we're very happy that we don't know these people but they came forward. And one of the biggest supporter in India is a racket, which is Dettol. And so I think that when we have corporates coming to support, we are able to go forward. And what a lot of organization don't run on a very expensive fund. We are very frugal, but we leverage on a lot of partner, and it just change the world because it's a movement.
And if somebody wants to, contribute or be part of this movement, right?
Mm.
How do we get more people to join this movement, to volunteer their time, energy, effort, resources?
You can just contact me because I reply every email. Every day I work 24 hours, I sleep and then I'm thinking of it, and next morning I wake up. So there's no weekend, no night time. Just Jack Sim at worldtoilet.org or go through the LinkedIn and find Jack Sim and just contact me. We have recently an executive director, which we didn't have for decades. And now we are much better organized. And the good thing is that at our 25th year, we have a lot of goodwill around the world. And whenever we introduce ourselves, of course, they check on the internet and then they get the affirmation. And, we can meet any government or any person we want through this way. It's legit and trusted. Yeah.
And what is your succession plan when, because I'm sure you want this movement to last beyond you. I'm sure
Yeah,
you've
sure.
already created a movement that is lasting beyond you. But what's your succession plan for the World Toilet Organization?
First of all, the succession is everybody out there doing it, not us alone. However, our job is to continuously orchestrate and catalyze it with different governments in the world at the policy change level. I have a new executive director. She's worked in Shell for 20 over years. And we have got general manager in Dubai and a manager in Bangalore and another account finance person in Singapore. And just these 4 employees were able to work with everybody in the world, including difficult government bureaucracy. And I think the team is ready. We recently have a donor that pay for 1 year salary. So that's very nice. We never had a 1 year runway. We usually know that we will have a run out of money in 6 months, but we survived 25 years with big impact.
And how is it different? Because, you know, like you said, you achieved financial independence at the age of 40, right? How is it different running a for-profit business compared to a non-profit organization like the World Toilet Organization?
For-profit business, I have this like killer instinct, defeat all my competitor, take their business, make the profit, make a satisfied customer. So there's this killer instinct when you are a businessman. When you are a social worker, you are not extractive. You are actually giving. That means you don't care whether the impact is accredited to you or credited to others, as long as the impact create the life of people get better, you don't worry who gets the credit. In fact, my job is to make other people shine, make the politician win election, let the media get more readership and advertising income, get the professor their references and their publication, because if they don't publish, they will perish. Get the celebrities the shine that they would like when they come forward, like Matt Damon and Jay-Z, Coldplay, they all came to support us. And everybody should be in the limelight, and you are behind facilitating all this movement. And I think that is a larger impact than if you were to do everything yourself. So in our development sector, there's this thing called solo, halo, ego, logos. That means they want to go solo, they want to have a halo on their head, they want to drive their ego and their corporate logo. If you go by this approach, how much can you get? You don't have friends, you'll be alone. You'll be very famous in a very, you know, a selfish way. However, if you were to be able to help everybody get whatever they want, don't judge whether people are egoistic or not. Think about how to motivate them to create the impact. And if they get what they want, the impact is happen. I think you should be satisfied all by yourself, although nobody knows, but you should be happy. Yeah.
And what is the plan? Because this year is the 25th anniversary of the World Toilet Organization, and also it's going to be the 25th year where you're going to do the World Toilet Summit, right?
Yeah.
What is the plan for the 25th year World Toilet Summit?
So this year we will do on 19th of November in Bangkok, and then we're in discussion with South Africa and China. The issue is that sewage treatment is still a big problem. People might have toilet, but the shit is not treated and it's still contaminating water, sometimes contaminating underground water, because when the underground water is high, it actually touches. If you dig a hole and then your shit touches, they become a well water that people drink, So treatment is very important. Regulations are important. We have to create rules and norms and standards. So that's something we're working with a lot of university. I am now planning to start a wash center inside the Singapore National University of Singapore at the Saw Swee Hock School of Public Health. This prevention of disease is cheaper than curing the disease. So water sanitation hygiene center. And we're now fundraising for NUS. Next month we'll do a fundraising event and we'll try a few more times until there's enough endowment for a professor and a director there. I'm planning to create all the countries' chapters so that they can also use the spillover of our brand association to build their local impact. I think once leadership is distributed, then you will have a life of its own, and legacy should be institutions rather than person. And if the institution self-motivated and financially self-sustainable, I think it will work. In the past, the focus on development is instant gratification. You build 20 toilets and you're very happy. And then 1 year later, it's not maintained, it is broken, it is abandoned, and you don't know because you only want that moment you take the photograph of the toilet. So I think we have to think system change and go back to root cause and ownership. A toilet that don't have an owner is like an orphan child. It will be abused. So I think that my work is basically about reform rather than about instant gratification.
So, and I mean, and when I hear about what you just shared with me, right, instantly what comes to my mind is every country in the world should have a chapter of the World Toilet Organization.
We don't want too much bureaucracy. So we want to find wherever there's this honest energy that's coming up. And there is a lot of people are good. And a lot of time, if somebody come and say, I'm doing this for funding, then I don't want to talk to them. But if they say, even with no money, I will still do it, and that's the quality of people that we want to talk to.
And also, share with me a little bit because I know you wrote this book called The Gumption of Mr. Toilet, right? Mobilizing the world to effect change. Tell us a bit about why did you write this book, and because I know it's quite a thick book as well, what will somebody get from reading this book?
So I wrote this book for a very different reason. The story is about gumption more than about toilet. I went to study in Singularity University in Mountain View at Silicon Valley 10 years ago. And when I was there, they gave me a 10 weeks scholarship with 200 teachers on high technology. And at that time, we learned about self-driving car. All the Grab driver, Uber driver will lose their job, including bus driver and taxi driver. We learn about lawyers losing their job, script writer losing their job, actors losing their job, and GP, general practitioner, will be an AI doctor. They're also losing their job. Only the surgeon and those that has a tactile skill that is important, or artists, they won't lose their job. But if they are too generic, they will lose their job. So as I sit there and watch, even quantum computing, and then I thought, wow, if in the future every job is endangered, then our school cannot be teaching people the rote learning memory test, which Singapore is so good at, and every country's university are teaching it the old way. So what's the new thing to teach? So I sat down to reflect, and the thing that is needed are the things that never change, because the technology will keep on changing and changing. The things that never change is curiosity, courage, compassion, commitment, communication, collaboration, community, and calmness. And all these are soft skills, human intelligence, not artificial intelligence. And these are human intelligence that the school refuse to teach you. They teach you what the AI can do. What for? After you graduated, the AI can do better than you. And yet the school refuse to teach you how to ask questions, how to challenge norm, and they punish you if you didn't reply exactly what the teacher say. If the teacher say, Porter 5 forces, you have to say 5 forces. You cannot say what about 10 forces. You cannot challenge norm. You cannot challenge 4P of marketing. And then if the professor say 5P, then you say 5P. But what about millions of ways? You cannot think flexibly. And I think this kind of educational system is archaic, and yet our schools are high rank. Our university are ranked very high. What for? What we want is people who can actually unlock all their multiple intelligence. And this is where I wrote this book, using the example of how I grew up and the O-level failure, and then started 16 successful company, big factories in Malaysia, Australian International School in Singapore, and then went on to be an activist, Mr. Toilet, and that everything was based on gumption. And if you understand gumption, you also understand entrepreneurship, and you cannot find a job, you create jobs. All you have to do is to find problem that nobody want to solve or have not solved very well, and then you turn it into a revenue model. Because every problem, if you add up the public good and the private good externality, you will make a profit. If it is not a profit, it's not a problem. You see, you're not happy about something. I give you that something, you pay me. But some of it is not private good, some of it is public good.
Yeah.
Then you pay me some and the government pay me some. And if the government can't pay me, then maybe the World Bank or the philanthropists, but that can only help for a start. Then you flip it into efficiency, and inside the efficiency, again, there is profit. So I think solving problem at system level is always profitable.
And as a person who's who's a successful businessman, successful activist as well, what are the jobs do you think that AI will take over, and what jobs do you think that are safe?
Very few jobs are safe. Obviously, if you are AI engineer, maybe you're safe, but then you might not be safe if you didn't follow the next wave, right? And the Moore's law says that we will reach singularity. Elon Musk said we already reached. I don't know. Singularity is the point where the AI is as intelligent as the combined knowledge of all human beings. Some people say it's 2037, but we know it will come. The issue is that once the AI is as intelligent as the human being, 2 years later it will be double, and 4 years later it will be 4 times, and 6 years later it will be 8 times, and so on and so forth. So we will be in a situation where the AI is like today your relationship with your dog. You become the dog, the AI become the master. And if you don't know how to be the master of the AI, you become the dog. And you become so cute, but you are useless. So I think that if you start to analyze what the human being can do that the AI cannot do, probably AI have all the knowledge, but sentient, maybe it takes longer to reach a level where you can love, where you can feel. And these are the emotional part that has higher computing power, still can be computed. What the AI absolutely cannot do is they don't eat and they don't shit. And every economy relies on having a customer. And the customer is the only one who eat and shit. And that's your superpower. Because without a customer, there's no economy.
What is the unique superpower of being human in the AI world?
Yeah, so the AI cannot do two things. It cannot eat and it cannot shit. And the human being is very important because he can eat and he can shit. Why? Because any economy will require a customer. And the customer is the only one who can consume and defecate. So I think that will keep us relevant. If we don't exist, if the customer don't exist, the economy don't exist, the robot also have no purpose. Now, if you think about if AI intelligence continue to double and double until it reach absolute saturation point, what would be the saturation point? It will be nature. Nature has zero waste. Nature recycle. Nature eat and shit. Whether it's an animal or an insect or a tree or germs, it eat and shit. And if the AI eventually come full circle, then it will reach the wisdom of nature. That means from digital, it will become biological, organic. I don't think we will live to see that. We are limited mortal lifespan. And the way we look at what is going on with the Iranian war, uh, some crazy people might push a nuclear bomb button. So let's stay optimistic and make every day useful and do good and cherish rather than just think of ourselves, think of everybody else.
Very nice. And I think that's a very nice way to end our conversation today. I really learned so much, Jack. Thank you so much for your time. And is there anything else that you would like to leave the audience with on, any last messages that you would like to share with our audience?
I think the interview has only so much time, so go read the book. Uh, the book is not about toilet. The book is about how to live a wholesome life, have very nice family relationship, have very nice relationship with the world at large and people you have never met, and why giving love is more important than receiving love. Because we get married because we want to give love to our wives. We have children because we want to give love to children. Those who didn't get married, you have a dog because you want to give love to a dog or a cat. And why? Because giving love is so joyful. And why don't you give love to all of humanity? In my case, it's just the toilet. In your case, and it could be anything else. Create jobs for people, um, create solutions of neglected problems.
Very nice. I love that. And that was Jack Sim, founder of the World Toilet Organization. I leave a copy of the book link inside as well. And if you want to find out a bit more, I'm going to link everything that Jack Sim does inside the show notes as well. So thank you, Jack, for your time. Looking forward to, come to World Toilet Organization Day as well on the 19th of November. Let me see if there's any way that I can contribute and I can help. And you'll be seeing a lot more of our videos on the World Toilet Organization Instagram page, Facebook page, social media page, because I want to contribute, I want to help, and I'm going to help Jack bring this movement across to more people as well. So thank you, Jack, for doing what you do.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.